Hey guys, welcome back to Style and Direction. I know it's been a while.
We say that every episode.
We do say that every episode because it's always going to be a while.
We're trying not to do that. We're going to start doing shorter, kind of more.
I mean, I know we said that the last time too, so we're gonna get back on that.
We're going to get back on
It's
that
kind of
gravy
like a horse.
train.
Oh, see,
Yeah.
I went with the horse analogy.
I did gravy because that's what I had for breakfast. Just a hot piping bowl of gravy.
Like no biscuits.
No biscuits, only gravy.
My biscuits are burning.
Yep.
When's the last time you watched Toy Story 2?
It's been a while.
That's funny. That's
Yeah.
really funny. That's a
No,
funny
it
joke.
has. It's been a very long time. I think I saw the first one about a year ago, and that was my favorite movie when I was a kid. The second one,
I like Toy Story 2 because how many Star Wars parallels there are, and the opening is really cool. The video game.
yeah, like that. I knew the I knew that reveal before I knew the Darth Vader reveal.
Oh my god, I think I might be right for that one.
Yeah,
I think my parents must have told me
Emperor
like,
Zurg.
oh, yeah, like it's a parody of Darth Vader. I'm like, who's Darth Vader?
Yeah.
I'm probably sure I should have watched Star Wars by then. I don't know. It was 1997 or 1998 or something. It was
right
like, I was
after
like
the prequels
4.
came out. The first one.
Yeah. But for those of you who are listening and don't know who we are, my name is Ethan Wong.
I'm Spencer Oddie.
I think we don't actually say our last name until the end, actually.
Well, we
which is
do
weird.
now. It's a face reveal except our last names.
It's like one of those things where like it's, you know, when you play Super Smash Brothers, like a new challenger approaches, you see the outline. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing for people.
We're entering the game.
Player 2 has entered the game.
Yeah, we are gonna be in the next Smash. That is confirmed.
I'm technically in the current Smash because I made a character named Ethan that looks like me, and it's a me brawler.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna be in Smash, but I'm just a Meta Knight clone. So.
Speaking of clones,
Star Wars
Star
Episode
Wars.
2.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, guys, today we are here to talk to you about black tie. Now,
Black tie, white tie, morning dress, and just kind of like,
just all of it
business
in
wear.
general.
All
Yeah, because
all the stuff that people say, oh, you have to just wear this thing and nothing else. We're going to talk
Right.
about how you could have fun with it.
exactly. And again, the reason why is because we just want to make more videos out there and videos. Whoa.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're looking
Freudian
at each other.
slip. Yeah. I must want to fuck a video.
Yep.
But we want to make some more content, and it's these things are basically, considering the last one about the about like making a basic wardrobe or whatever. These are our way of kind of putting our own ideas out there, getting the basics and the opinions of Spencer and Ethan, and I guess the blog in by extension. So why not talk about black tie?
Yeah, because, I mean, we are going to an event. By the time this episode will have come out, we've probably already been there. We're going to a black tie
We'll find
event.
out.
Yeah,
We'll find out. Yeah.
We'll find out.
But honestly, I mean, the reason why, before we lead up to it, let's just get out of the way. It's a Dapper Day collaboration with the LA Philharmonic at the Walt Disney Concert Hall.
Yep.
If that's not a black tie event, and it technically, I mean, you
Isn't.
could. It technically isn't.
But we're doing it anyway.
We're doing, yeah. I mean, it's at 8:00. It's in the evening. It's the Philharmonic.
And we're not farmers.
Yeah, it's after 6.
Yeah.
And so, Spencer and I, The King and I sequel, have been wanting to do a black tie event for so long. I think one of our first episodes of 2018 was talking about when I went to the Cicada Club at the end of 2017.
Man.
And that was a long time ago. But we didn't go to the Cicada Club this year, basically because we don't swing dance. We're not really into that. Doesn't make sense to pay to go to an event that we
we're just
don't
gonna stand
participate in.
around.
Yeah, I'm not going to pay to then buy a drink.
Yep, and then drive to downtown LA.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's also not worth it just for the pictures either.
So we waited a little bit. We thought we were going to have a black tie event late December. That fell through, but fate intervened.
And the evening event came through in the form of Dapper Day. And I was talking to Justin, and he said, yeah, we're trying to do some evening events. And now there's going to be one at LACMA, not really black tie, but then there's a Philharmonic one, which is a bit more black tie appropriate. I mean, when you watch Frasier, whenever they go to the opera, they're usually in black tie. Yep. I mean, I think in every episode where they go to the opera, they're wearing tuxedos. And we're not like trying to be Frasier, but I mean, that's like probably the most appropriate time to wear a tuxedo in Southern California or Los Angeles.
Yeah, because we're not going to whatever. But
even at a wedding, okay. Let's talk about where you can wear black tie in our own contexts.
Okay, in our context,
maybe a wedding.
Maybe a wedding. It depends on what the invitation says.
Yeah, it depends on what the invitation says. And more likely than not, I mean, it's probably, if you're going to be wearing black tie at a wedding, you're probably going to be one of the best men or the groom.
In that case, you probably don't get to choose what you wear.
Right.
Oh, this is also the first episode we're recording since I've left Men's Warehouse. So I can.
So no more tux rentals.
Where I rented tuxedos for like 2 or 3 years, so I can now talk shit on tux rentals. They're bad. We'll get into that later.
Yeah. I mean, so other than like wedding, what is there? Maybe if you go to some like movie premiere, I mean, it's LA. This is so LA.
Yeah.
There's not a 0% chance you could, be a filler at the Oscars, or maybe, I don't know, go to some dinner thing. I don't know.
Like charity galas, whatever.
Yeah. And then of course there is the Cicada Club. Usually men's wear people tend to do things for New Year's. I know that the vintage people tend to do one. I think Nicole, owner of Paper Moon Vintage, one of our favorite vintage stores, has one. It's not really open invitation, but I've seen on Facebook, she'll have one, and some people wear black tie or white tie, and it seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're probably gonna have a moment where you're gonna have to wear black tie. Yeah. I mean, it's probably not gonna be 0. But maybe not more than 3. And I mean, black tie, I think everyone talks about how formal it is, how many rules there are.
Yeah, which leads to the question, why are we excited about wearing black tie if both of us right now are wearing a lot more separates than we are suits and kind of like
here's the answer. It looks fucking cool.
It looks really cool. Neither of us really like wearing black suits, but you have to admit there's something to a black suit that just looks awesome.
Or a black dinner suit, you mean. So, yeah, I mean, tuxedos, a little history here. Tuxedos are also called, they go by evening wear or evening suits, dinner suits, dinner jackets, what have you. That's basically what they were for. Back in the day when the rich people would have multiple outfits, when they would go to an event or something in the morning, they'd wear a morning dress, the morning equivalent of a tuxedo, or the day equivalent, exactly. Then, if they had a job, they'd wear their business suit, and then they'd come home and change into their evening suit
either
for
black
dinner.
Tie or white tie. Black tie being the more casual of the two.
Yeah, say, like, if you were going to go eat dinner at your own home with like a couple of friends, maybe you'd be in black tie, and if you went to like a restaurant or you'd have like a celebration for an evening, maybe you'd be in white tie.
Yeah, that doesn't really happen anymore.
No, and especially I think black tie is probably the most formal you'll ever have it in the United States. Obviously you still see that, again, like we said, certain weddings, movie premieres, fancy dinners.
The Met Gala is supposed to be white tie, but usually the
people go in black tie.
Don't actually wear white tie.
Yeah, exactly. So that, I mean, yeah, like we said, we're very excited to wear it because we don't have an opportunity to wear it. We both own tuxedos, and it's kind of like the thing, we don't like being minimalistic in what we're wearing, but when you kind of adhere to black tie, it looks really cool. Minimalism in that case, I think, looks pretty dang awesome. And
especially like this is one opportunity where just knowing how things are supposed to fit can really, really benefit you. Because if you're at a black tie event and most guys are wearing rented tuxedos from Men's Warehouse or Friar Tux that do not fit right, and you're in your own, like, either if you're lucky, you have like a bespoke rig or just like something that you tailored for yourself, people are going to say, that looks good.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you see the pictures of, golden era Hollywood and seeing how well they fit into their tuxedos, and it's like, I want to look like that. And
yeah, like one of my favorite photos of all time, and we'll link this in the show notes or something, I don't know, is Clark Gable in a tuxedo, and it's just like, it's so cliche to be like, oh, Clark Gable, but still, I'm like, damn, that fits so good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I tried wearing a black tie or wearing a tuxedo every year for a long time. I mean, it wasn't maybe not correct, but I remember buying like a dinner jacket from H&M with like slightly matching pants also from H&M that I'm not sure that they were from the same set or anything, but I just wore it. And it's cool. I mean, it like there's something about like the satin on the lapels or grosgrain, whatever you happen to find, and putting it together as a part of like a unit or a uniform, it looks simultaneously interesting and not interesting at the same time. Like I mean, it's literally two colors, black and white, but I think that's what makes it so endearing, because it's like, how do you make this interesting? And we'll probably get into that in a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But so for those of you who don't know black tie, it's basically a suit. By that we mean matching pants with matching jacket made of the same material. It's not just like a random black jacket with random black pants. They're made of the same material. The jacket will have some sort of facing on the lapels, and the lapels will be peak or shawl. Skip the notch, please. And the satin will be, or the facings will be matched onto the side stripe of the pants. And the side stripe,
well as the bow tie.
Yeah, and same thing with the bow tie. Yeah, the stripe on the trousers kind of bring to mind, like military like uniforms, or for lack, if you guys don't know about that, maybe like band uniforms. They have like a stripe on the side.
And another quick thing about working in tux rentals, guys hate that stripe.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. Like
they're like, do you have tux pants without the stripe? I'm like, no, because then they wouldn't be tux pants.
They'd be regular dress pants.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then you have different facings. Like you have satin, which is just straight smooth. Grosgrain, which is has a little bit of like a twill. That's right. Oh yes, that's right. And then you'd also have a grosgrain bow tie or a satin bow tie.
Yep.
And I have a 1930s tuxedo. It's a 3-piece. It has a matching evening vest, because you're always supposed to have the waist area covered with a tuxedo. It's it's a little bit of you don't show the midsection. You want it to be kind of like a continuous form, I guess. I don't know what you call it, like when you're standing. So you don't always have to have your tuxedo jacket closed, because you have this waist covering. It's usually either going to be a cummerbund or a low cut evening vest. By low, I mean it's going to be kind of like a U shape or a very deep V with like, a couple of buttons.
And those vests are a lot harder to find now, because most guys just opt for like a regular daytime vest.
A daytime vest?
Well, just like a regular vest, regular waistcoat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like, I mean, it might still be black, but it won't be a like a low cut evening vest, because it's supposed to be low cut. Because a tuxedo jacket is usually one button for single-breasted, and then double-breasted for, the double-breasted one looks pretty much like a suit.
Usually just has one functioning button.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's usually either a 4-on-1, or it could be a 4-on-2 without any chest or nipple buttons, as I call them. But
Falcon.
Yeah, who's excited? Or it's cold in here. But yeah, I mean, they're typically low cut because it's a one button jacket. One button suit jackets are usually low buttoning, and so you're kind of matching that with the waistcoat. So yeah, I mean, that's the basic rundown of what a tuxedo is, and I know my tuxedo has an evening vest. It's got a really interesting, like, I don't know what you call it, like a weird decorative wool embroidery on like on the body with like pretty giant shawl lapels on the waistcoat, and then the jacket itself is peak lapelled satin, and then the side stripe actually has satin embroidery around the center solid satin stripe going down the side of the pants. That's pretty cool. It's got like kind of a pagoda shoulder, but that's like the one time I actually like structure because the tuxedo looks really cool. It also fits really close to the body because it's probably early 30s. The pants are flat fronted. And I think the pants have a little bit of a flare to them, so they're kind of like a cool young collegiate-esque kind of thing. And you know, yeah, I mean, and it looks really cool. I mean, yeah, it looks kind of like the I mean, when I was buying it, I wanted that Clark Gable picture of him. Like that's what I want to look like.
And we'll include photos of this stuff somewhere.
Yeah, we'll have like a separate blog post with just like show notes. Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna start doing that. Maybe I should start just doing show notes, and then that way MJ, who is editing the podcast, guys,
thanks, MJ.
Shout out to MJ, our friend, who edits the podcast.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll include all these pictures in there so you guys can follow along. And yeah,
it's like a guided tour.
3-hour tour, Gilligan's Island. And one of these days maybe we'll have like a style and direction jokesexplained.com where we
we'll have a wiki
wiki of all the jokes and references that we do. Like at 16 minutes they make reference to Gilligan's Island. Gilligan's Island was a show, and
we just need a TV tropes page. We need a TV tropes page.
Yeah. So I mean that's my black tie rig. Spencer, why don't you talk about yours?
So my black tie rig is, I have one that's from the early 40s. It's a double-breasted one. It's a 4-on-2 with pleated trousers, pretty wide legs, very high rise. And like Ethan's, it's also very structured. I do also have a vest. It didn't come with it, but I bought it from our friend Benny. And it is from like the early Jets. 1910s or something like that.
Oh, damn. So I forgot that you have this thing.
It's the oldest piece of clothing I own, and if I'm recalling correctly, I'm tempted to go like grab it right now from my closet. It has these like kind of stripes on it. It's like satin, and it has these like satin stripes on it. But I, at 16 or 17 years old, in my hubris, wore that to a school dance and ripped the side. Luckily, it's on the seam, but I should have known not to wear a 100-year-old garment to a dance. So I need to get that repaired.
That's one reason why I'm scared of my vest, because I think I might have to just replace the back because it fits so close. Like it's like it looks great, but I'm like, I mean, I'm a photographer, as you guys know, or if you didn't know, I'm a photographer. So I'm kind of scared, like if I move my chest kind of weird. I mean, the armholes are pretty nice. It's just, I mean, it's cut like it's like it's so sexy. No, it's just really close fitting. I mean, that's how a waistcoat should feel. But
if it's very, very old,
yeah, and you're not wearing like a flannel where there's a little bit of give or wool or whatever. It's kind of like this kind of embroidered whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I mean that's what we and Spencer wear. I think Spencer wore it to his dad's wedding.
I wore it to our first New Year's outing.
Yeah, and then since then I haven't really broke. I broke mine out last year because I bought it at the end of 2017
specifically for that event.
Yeah, and I got to wear it, but now I have, because before that I would wear like random tuxedo pants. Like I would find them on eBay for like $20. One thing,
vintage tuxedos tend to be really cheap because everyone had them, but people didn't wear them a lot. Yeah,
and then also things get separated a lot, so sometimes you'll find, I mean, if you didn't want to pay like $100 to $200 for a vintage tuxedo, you could probably find like separates. Which I don't recommend at all. But if you thought maybe you'd want to wear a dinner jacket, which we'll talk about after this, you can probably find 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, tuxedo pants on eBay or Etsy or something like that. And that's how I got away for a long time, because I never found a jacket I liked. Because I think I thrifted a 30s DB jacket. I wore it with like 40s pants, and it didn't really go well because the 30s jacket was really close fitting with narrower shoulders, and the pants were just like huge because they were like double pleated and whatnot, and with a wide leg opening, because pleats don't always mean the pants are baggy. Just saying. Nope. But yeah, so a lot of people, when we talk about black tie, or especially on MFA where I'm a fairly frequent user, a lot of people say they don't want to wear a tuxedo, or they don't want to wear a full one because it's kind of boring. And like we said earlier, while that's kind of true, it's just two colors, it's a matching suit. We like the look. It's cohesive. I mean, there's a lot of people who say suits look better than separates because of how they make your body look. You know, it's a complete silhouette. It's slimming because it's all one color, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But we realize that guys don't want to be boring.
Yep. And so this leads into more tales of me renting stuff. I would often get people who are like, I need to choose like a fun vest or a fun tie or something like that, so I can stand out.
No, you don't.
And they don't. So that's one way you don't want to. If you want to look good in black tie, don't do that. Like,
I mean, okay, Spencer bought a fun evening vest to go with it, and that works. You could also,
exactly,
as long as it's in the same vein. Like, again, look at
like
eBay.
I think you can get away with some, like, non-black vests or tie.
I mean, there are
ties.
examples in the show notes that will show you. There's like, a couple of like contrasting cream evening vests.
Or there's one photo that used to be my phone background where it's like a dude in a shawl collar tuxedo. And you can see peeking out from the lapels he's wearing like a red vest, which I think looks great. Something subtle like that. Or you can I wouldn't wear this, but I'm sure someone out there can make it look good. Like the fun kind of 50s, 60s, like plaid cummerbund and bow tie set. But that's going to get into like kind of nerd, obnoxious territory really easily. So you have to be careful with that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think so. The main way that we would recommend, spicing things up, again, this kind of harkens back to our talk on the uniform where we have interesting ties with conservative suits or jackets. You could have a cool dinner jacket. And dinner jackets are separate than a tuxedo jacket because dinner jackets are the sport coat of evening wear. They're not meant. They don't have any matching pants. They are meant to be worn as a statement piece. Or as just like something contrasting, like think of, like Bogart wearing the white dinner jacket with black pants. That's probably the evening wear equivalent of wearing a navy hopsack jacket with gray flannels. Like that's, it's obviously it's a touch more informal than a full tuxedo, but it's more interesting.
Mm-hmm. And so you have a couple dinner jackets.
Yes, I do.
Like 2-ish.
Yeah,
2.5, I guess. We'll get into that second. But yeah, why don't you kind of go through yours?
Definitely. So the first one that I ever bought was the one I'm going to be wearing to the to LACMA. Not LACMA, the Walt Disney Concert Hall. It's technically a smoking jacket. It's made of
who
like.
Who gives a shit?
But who cares? Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
So it's made of more of like a not model, like a, what do you call the wool that they made the work jackets out of? The work vests. What was it called again?
Oh,
like the,
oh shit! What is it?
Like,
I know what you're talking about.
It's not merino wool. Melton. Yeah. So it's kind of like a rough wool, and it's completely unstructured because again, smoking jackets. Not again because we didn't say this before, but smoking jackets were meant to be worn at home. Similar to like your dressing gown, right? Like when you wake up, you put your dressing gown over your pajamas. So this one, you go home, you take off your suit jacket, you put on your smoking jacket. It's nice, it's fancy.
Your clothes don't smell.
Yeah, exactly. And so, people think of the velvet ones, but mine is older. It's from the 1930s, completely unstructured. I don't think there's no canvas in it because again, this was meant to be worn just at home. Mm-hmm. But it's got like triple patch pockets with like embroidery, a matching embroidery from the cuffs and the pockets to the shawl collar, and it's like this kind of like burgundy purplish color, and the embroidery is kind of like a green yellow. It's very cool and elegant looking. Mm-hmm. And it's actually on the blog from like an article from like almost 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, our Friendsgiving.
And I'm actually have a mustache in that picture, so it's kind of fun. But yeah, I mean, it's also got frog closure. Frog.
It's frog.
It's frog.
I think it's frog. This is gonna be a Mandela effect if we're wrong.
Yeah, but basically that is kind of like it's like a duffel coat where like one end is like a loop and the other end's like a knotted or some sort of thing, and you just kind of put it through it. So it's kind of like meant to be easily closed and opened kind of thing. And so so that was the first one I ever bought. Besides my odd tuxedo jackets that did not match the tuxedo pants. Obviously Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. Even though I only watched the movie, I think No, I watched the movie before I bought this jacket, but everyone knows his iconic, 4-on-1 ivory dinner jacket that he wears, that Rick, his character, wears. And I think the number one, I guess, garment or piece that people get in that style is usually Palm Beach. And again, Palm Beach, for those of you who don't know, is a fabric that was made of like wool, cotton, mohair, kind of this kind of mix. It wasn't really breathable, but it was kind of like they marketed it so well that it was like the go-to summer fabric of 1930s to like the 1940s or 50s. And they made a couple of these jackets, in the dinner jacket configuration, and a lot of guys have them. A lot of our friends have them. I did not find one, and usually when I did, because Palm Beach is a rare fabric, the mill itself, not the brand, but the mill that made the fabric, closed in the 1960s. So it's like, having one means that you have something between 1930 and 1960, and the dating depends on the label and the fabric and, of course, the design of the jacket. But anyway, these jackets are pretty expensive to find. And so I didn't find one, but my friend Benny, owner of Reese's Vintage Pieces, not a sponsor, but usually someone we used to go to a lot when we were collecting 30s and 40s, he had a cheap one made of silk. It was like late 40s, maybe early 50s, so the shoulders at the time were very padded, very square. The body fit really close, so you're getting a really masculine look, and the buttoning stance is a little bit low. Comparative to like a 1930s dinner jacket or the one Rick wears in Casablanca. But that was my second kind of dinner jacket, and I think my only other dinner jacket that I have. It's really nice. I got the shoulder pads taken out of them and the shoulders taken in because, again, it was very bold. I don't know when I'm going to wear it again because I wore it to a tiki night, a Casablanca night at a tiki bar last year. I think it was like November. Yeah. 2017 November, I think. But it's something I have. That way, in case I don't want to wear a full tuxedo, I can break it out. And
that way you have it.
That way I have it, yeah. And it's really cool. That would be my preferred way of wearing a odd combo, just because, again, my smoking jacket might be a little bit too rakish for me. It's a little bit fancy. And again, all these things were relatively cheap because no one really wears them. But I bought them, and now I have a tuxedo with a set of pants that I can just swap out, so I can actually wear those with those jackets. But Spencer's got kind of more interesting ones too. Why don't you talk about that?
So the first one I got, well, actually, I think I got both of these from the same seller, like the same sale. So I have a something that's a little bit closer to a dressing. Well, yeah, it's a smoking jacket, but it is fully belted with like a sash that you tie, triple patch pocket. It has this red, almost kind of light corduroy, like maybe crushed velvet fabric to it, with
This is your Hugh Hefner one,
with with darker reddish purple silk lapels and cuffs.
Oh man, that's a cool jacket.
You bet.
It's like an amusement park.
It's like an amusement park.
Other than that, didn't you buy one also recently?
Yes. Well, no. So the other one I have came, like I said, I think it came from the same seller. She posted like 2 photos on it on Facebook, and I was like, "Can I have them both?" And she was like, "You can buy them both," and I did. And the other one is like
looking for free, but touching's gonna cost you.
Exactly. The other one is like a late 50s dinner jacket. It's super cool, as is everything I own. But
take it from me, guys. It's cool.
It's cool. It's like a very dark red silk. Well, it's like a very dark red dinner jacket with kind of like silk brocade embroidery on it with black lapels, shawl collar. One button, it has like cool details like continental cuffs. The button is pretty interesting. I think it's like plastic, but it's very like mid-century. There's like a subtle design on it. But yeah, I love that thing, and I've only worn it like maybe twice. Looking forward to wearing it a third time.
That's the one you're going to be wearing?
Yeah, that's the one I'm going to be wearing.
And you'll see the pictures as soon as they come up.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
So
I was gonna get one. Well, I guess we could save this for later when we talk about like where to get black tie ones. But there was another one I was going to buy, but it sold out before I could. So that's a little sneak preview for later this episode.
yeah, I mean, like in like 1 minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so what are your thoughts on wearing separates versus wearing a cohesive tuxedo?
I don't know. I think it depends on the vibe you're going for. If you're going for something very like clean, then like I get a lot of guys that are like, I want to be like James Bond, and then they show me like a picture of Daniel Craig. And I mean, in that case, for the most part, he mostly sticks to full tuxedos. I think there's only one or two movies where he's wearing dinner jackets.
Sucked her.
So, yep, sucked her. So yeah, in that case, stick with that. But if you do kind of want to stand out a little bit, but not be too crazy or not be not look bad and like a douchebag, then I think dinner jackets are the way to go. I mean, you can have fun with those, and I think there's.
I mean,
there's
like
a lot of ones that
like
are really
tartan
good.
plaid ones are good for like like a 50s, 60s kind of look.
Yeah.
The white dinner jacket's really good for again. I mean, that's kind of a Bond thing to do as well. But they get the Casablanca vibes.
Or Indiana Jones in Temple of Doom.
That's right. An underrated tuxedo outfit or evening outfit, I should say.
Which is based on James Bond, right?
Yeah, because the story of Indiana Jones was he wanted to make a James Bond film, and I guess at the time he wanted to make him American or something, or use an American actor, and they were like, hell no. Like the broccoli people were like, nah. So he's like, fine. So he made Indiana Jones, and that's why each adventure is kind of standalone. He's a different woman in each one, and he gets to wear a dinner jacket. It's also because I think at the time he didn't get the rights to Tintin either, so he's like, I'm just gonna make my own version of that. And then later on, he directed the Tintin movie, which is also good. Go. But
Dreams
Tintin
do come true.
Yeah, I love that Disneyland fireworks. Did you know that? I think it's Remember Dreams Come True.
I think so.
Yeah, that's
that's
a really good
ever
one.
Wear?
Tintin doesn't deviate ever from his. Well, so he wears his iconic, jumper with what do you call it? Plus fours and the runaway collar. He does change it to like bell bottoms ish, kind of like if you look in like the late 60s adventures, he wears pants that are slightly flared. But he does wear a suit, but never a dinner jacket. I think Captain Haddock wears white tie, I think, at some point. Maybe at some like like ironic like sober sailors of Europe event, and then he's like drunk or something.
Yep.
So but yeah, basically the top people, like the top tuxedo people, are usually James Bond or Rick. What's his last name? Rick Moranis?
Rick Moranis, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember his last name. Rick American.
Yeah, it's named after him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean some of the things we'll get into where you can buy this stuff in a second, but I think it's best to talk about what you shouldn't do. Because that way people, I mean, like with suiting, a lot of people get it wrong. Like you can't just wear whatever you want. I'm hoping if you listen to this, you have a little bit of like, well, I want to be better, or I have a very intentional look I'm going for. So take our words with a grain of salt, or take heed, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Take heed, speaking of Indiana Jones, right? Like he holds that sign. Solo does.
That's correct.
But yeah, I mean, again, make sure your evening vest. I would say lots of guys get evening vests wrong. This is just straight up. There's usually, when guys do them, unless they're bespoke guys, which, I mean, I'm not a bespoke guy. Actually, yes, I am. I am.
You are now.
I am now. Well, more on that in the future, another episode. But, unless you can get like the traditional U-cut deep V waistcoat, most times you're going to get a vest that looks basically like a business vest or a suit vest, and that doesn't really go with a tuxedo, because it's not.
And also they have to be cut short for high-rise trousers.
That's
like,
yeah.
It looks really weird if it's like a long vest.
In general, you shouldn't wear long vests. But I mean, at this point, I'd rather people wear a cummerbund, and also that's way easier to find. Cummerbunds are supposed to be meant with the opening facing upward because it's supposed to catch crumbs. I mean, as the stories usually
the legend.
Go. That's the legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because who is it? Like King Henry or whatever was like, I'm gonna eat this sandwich and I'm gonna have crumbs all over me. Also, my vest is too tight. I'm gonna unbutton the blast button.
There you go.
Yeah. But yeah, cummerbunds are really easy. I mean, that's what I'm doing for the event. Because again, number one, my evening vest I feel like it's gonna rip if I take pictures and move around with it, and number two, I don't know, it's more casual.
Yep.
Evening vests are again I think should be worn personally with a full tuxedo, I get matching jacket and pants as opposed to a separate outfit. So that's basically my thing with that.
And a lot of guys really hate cummerbunds. At least that was my experience. But I think I personally really like how they look with a shawl collar. Collar tuxedo.
Yeah, I mean, you're not supposed to wear them fastened. Or I mean, I think I heard somewhere where like 3-piece suits are also not supposed to be worn fastened because you're supposed to have like the kind of like open jacket but it's still closed off kind of look, and that applies to tuxedos. So, but yeah, I mean that's why I like them too. Whether it's shawl or peak lapel or whatever you call it. Oh, I see what you mean. So like shawl needs cummerbund, but peak lapel needs the vest. That's what you mean.
That's my opinion.
There you go. Okay, yeah. So I agree there. Yeah. And we're wearing shawl collar dinner jackets, so the cummerbunds are definitely what we would wear with that.
There you go. What else shouldn't you do?
Well, don't wear normal black shoes. I mean, obviously, if you don't have them, I wouldn't say that you have to. You have to go out of your way.
Like, we have a friend that's going with us, and it's like, we were like, don't spend your money on tuxedo shoes you're never going to wear again. Yeah. Get a pair of, like, just regular black Oxfords, and you'll be fine. But if you're going to multiple black tie events a year, you should opt for black tie shoes, which are either going to be just patent leather Oxfords, just highly polished leather Oxfords. They don't necessarily have to be patent leather.
No one's going to, I mean, people, unless you're going around pity or whatever, no one's really going to know.
Yeah, without any cap toe, without any broguing, whatever. Or if you're feeling a little bit dandy, you could go with slippers or opera pumps.
Yeah. So first, before we get into the opera pumps and slippers, I wore what do you call it? Cap toe brogues. So not just not even like a regular cap toe. I think you could get away with a regular cap toe without any broguing. You could probably just polish it up and wear it. I wore brogue cap toes with my tuxedo because I literally wore that tuxedo once, Yeah. And it's not that big of a deal. No one's really going to notice. And so, yeah, our friend is wearing cap toe shoes. Not as much broguing as mine. It's not full brogue, so it'll be more clean. But I think I personally really love the idea of slippers and opera pumps just because I love loafers. As those of you who read the blog and read the whole thing about why I like derbies and stuff, loafers kind of suck because of the sizing thing, but I like how elegant they look. People say they look feminine or whatever. I don't really care about that. But I mean, they make it look more accessible, I think, just in general. Just like how penny loafers are probably better to wear than any kind of lace up, just because they look really casual.
That's what I'm wearing right now. I'm just wearing them with jeans and an OCBD.
There you go. But yeah, I mean, my first choice would be opera pumps, but you don't find those.
Let's explain what opera pumps are for those.
Opera pumps are basically, think of like the shape of like a tassel loafer, but instead of a tassel, you have kind of like a tiny bow.
And usually they're kind of cut a little bit, like the vamp is a little bit lower.
Yeah. So it looks. I mean, think of like a slipper, but that's shaped like a tassel loafer. Has a lower vamp and has a little bow tie on them. There are plain opera pumps too, like whether velvet or
patent leather.
Again, those are my favorite, and guys did wear them in the 20s. I don't know about guys, but there's an illustration of a guy wearing it with a turtleneck and trousers in like a 1920s, nice. like some Leondecker-esque illustration, that's cool. I wouldn't recommend that if you didn't know what you were doing. But that's one way to, it's an advanced one. But if you don't have, if you wanted to get the most of your money, I guess you could do that. But I would recommend also velvet slippers, monogrammed or not. Those ones, because they're velvet, they're kind of like the suede of evening wear, so
Yeah.
a bit more casual, a bit more texture, more interesting. And then monograms are kind of up to you. So Spencer and I were graciously gifted a pair from Stubbs and Wooten. Wooten?
Yep.
Wooten?
Wooten, I think.
Wooten. There's double O's, baby. Yeah, I mean, this is not sponsored by them, but
We really appreciate it, and I can't wait to break those out. They're very cool. Because the ones you have are...
oh yeah, so the ones I have they're from the Luke Edward Hall, right?
Yes,
That's his name,
that
right?
both of ours are.
Yeah. The LEH collection from Stubbs and Wooten. Les slippers.
Yep.
We're very cool. We were on 9gag a lot when we were kids. And Rage Comics. So yeah, I mean the ones I have, so they're the Pegasus ones. Again, this post isn't sponsored by them, but they graciously gifted me and Spencer a couple just for being some cool guys, so it makes sense to kind of shout them out a little bit. But yeah, they have kind of a neon blue, electric blue trim on the around the opening, the vamp or whatever you want to call it, with Pegasi, you know. And I really like the idea of an animal one, just because I thought that say anything with like a lion. I know a lion's an animal, but lions are typically pretty basic ones, or like a crown. I thought those were a little bit too basic. And then I'm not a part of any cool club. I did not go to an Ivy League school.
You're not in the Skull and Bones Society.
No, yeah, and so yeah, Duke of Windsor, what a sissy. But yeah, I thought those were a little bit too rakish and not fitting for me as a regular dude. But I thought that Pegasi, that's correct, right? That's what you call them.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe Pegasus.
I thought those were kind of cool. Yeah, but anyway, I thought they were cool. They kind of got this kind of small cartoony vibe because of how Luke Edward Hall illustrated them. And and those are my go-to slippers for evening wear forever now.
So mine are also, like we said, from the Luke Edward Hall collection. I got the Gladius slippers. And so one of the feet shows a gladiator, sword raised, shield up, ready to fight, and the other foot has a leaping tiger. Rawr.
Attention gamers.
Yeah.
John Wick needs your help.
Exactly. And so they're black with like a white trim on it. So yeah, again, it's very cool.
My wife. And the cool thing about these slippers is that you can technically wear them separately with other stuff too. I mean, there's gonna be a blog post about them in the future, but I wore them with like a dark suit with a turtleneck and with, what do you call it? Like a rugged separates, as I call it, like turtleneck with like high-rise denim with like a jungle jacket. Basically very inspired by the guys at Bryceland's and Tony Sylvester. One of our big inspirations. We'll get into that in another episode. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of cool to see how other people wear them separately. And technically they are slippers, or they're inspired by house slippers. So they've got kind of this casual vibe to them, but also an air of elegance because only rich people technically had them. And then the ability to be worn with black tie. Exactly, I'm not sure what the history of that is, or when the first guy did them with black tie, but they are technically still appropriate. A little bit more casual by most people's standards, but I would still wear them.
Yeah, if you're wearing a dinner jacket and you have a pair of opera pumps and slippers, go with the slippers. Keep the opera pumps for the full Monty. The full Monty.
I'm just letting that one just hang.
Okay.
But yeah, that's basically how Spencer and I approach our black tie and our choices on them. So if you guys are interested in doing your own black tie, whether you are just going out to the town, again, we don't recommend that. We know some people who are literally like, hey, it's evening, I'm gonna wear a black tie now.
Yep, I saw.
We're not those guys.
I saw a post on the Fedora Lounge when I was first getting into vintage. The Fedora Lounge website, not even the Facebook page. So, I was dedicated. Yikes. But it was a guy that's like, it's
a big FLer.
Yep. He was like, well, it's the morning and I'm going to Starbucks. So I had to break out my morning dress. And even back then, I was like, did you?
Did you have to?
Can you do that on the balcony, buddy?
Hey, brother.
Yep.
Don't forget to check out sounddirectionjokesexplained.com for the full analysis
website,
of all the references. Squarespace.com. Build it beautiful. Please sponsor us.
Yep.
But yeah, no. I mean, yeah, we're not those kind of guys who tend to dress up. I mean, if say we got Subway afterward from our black tie event,
which
might happen, and which we have done before. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not going out of our way to say, hey, it's evening, we need to be wearing a tuxedo.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool, like, if you go to, like, a diner or, like, a, like, kind of a drive-in, a diner, or a dive. If you, like, after you come from a black tie event, that thing is kind of cool. But if you're going to IHOP, don't wear a tuxedo just for IHOP.
Yeah, I mean, I went to IHOP because I was in my tuxedo earlier before that.
Exactly. If you happen to be wearing a tuxedo and you go to IHOP, it's very cool.
And that is also how you should approach regular suiting, for that matter, just regular outfits. But yeah, so if you guys want to get your own, number one, check eBay. I mean, basically you can find vintage ones on there.
Very cheap. Much cheaper than suits usually.
Yeah, so $100 to $300 depending on condition, age. Obviously, like super early, like 1920s ones will be more expensive than later ones. But yeah, eBay and Etsy are probably your best bets. Same thing goes for the pants and the dinner jackets. If you are accustomed to buying stuff on eBay or Etsy already, you'll know your measurements. It's the same thing. Nothing really changes. Maybe you'd have to check for the vest, but more often than not, if it's a set, if you can fit the jacket, you'll probably be able to fit the waistcoat.
It is a little bit harder to find full sets, including the vest, because usually the vest got lost at some point. So if they do have them, they will be more expensive because of how cool that is. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not too well versed in the details of black tie, just because I only have one. But my black tie vest doesn't have a cinch in the back, which means it's probably a little bit earlier than I thought it was, or at least not. Probably earlier 30s than later. And so that's something you have to watch out for. You might have to replace the back of the vest, which, I mean, no one's going to see it. Doesn't really matter. So you could do that if you wanted more room, which is probably something I'm going to have to do if I'm going to keep this damn tuxedo set. But yeah, that's basically the number one place to go to. Vintage stores will have them. Usually, again, same prices. Check out Paper Moon or Benny. Benny has a few. He comes across them. Reese's Vintage Pieces. That's where I got mine. Yeah, check out your local vintage stores. They'll have them. And then
if you're buying in a store, like if you're buying new, the first place, like let's go in like tiers of budget, I guess. So like the lowest tier, this is not because I work there, but I would stop by J. Crew and get our shawl collar tuxedo, because I think it looks really nice. It has a slightly wider lapel, which not a lot of places do. When we had some pretty cool dinner jackets, including one that I really wanted to buy. Here's the payoff to that setup. It was like a big, like, tartan, like, kind of bright thing that looked very like 1950s Brooks Brothers. And the day I went in to buy it, I started my shift and I was like, time to put that jacket on hold. I found out we sent them all out the day before.
Yikes.
Yeah.
But in general, Jake is pretty good. I mean, I think the trousers might be a little bit low rise for most people, or for veteran listeners of the podcast and the blog. But yeah, I mean, that's one place to go. Prices might not be the cheapest because it's retail.
It's more expensive than our suits, but still not super pricey.
Yeah. Suit Supply is another one. I mean, most guys go there. They have wide lapels. I think they have both peak lapel and shawl collar.
And then so you can also get a cape there. So perfect.
Oh yeah, just complete the look.
Yeah.
And then I would recommend looking at P. Johnson. I really like their suiting. It's very casual. By that I mean the structure. There's like little to no padding in the shoulder, depending on how you order it and what you tell the representatives of what you want. But I mean, I think that's like, stepping into the, less than $2,000 area of the spectrum.
Yep.
But that's one place to go to if you want to get like kind of the classic black tie look without feeling too stuffy or feeling like you have to get like a pagoda shouldered 30s dinner jacket or a 30s tuxedo.
Ralph Lauren always really, really impresses me with their black tie. There's a Ralph Lauren store at the mall that I work at that I occasionally stop in, and yeah, there's always a mannequin in like a black tie rig that just looks immaculate, and that's going to be very pricey, probably even more expensive than going full made to measure with PJT. But hey, look, if you have the money, why not?
Or you can also look up on eBay, Ralph Lauren tuxedo.
Oh yeah, that's another good thing to do.
Like that. Yeah, look up your favorite brands on there. I mean, maybe Brooks Brothers might have some, or Vintage Brooks might have a tuxedo. I haven't looked at myself again. I have one. I'm done. I don't need another one.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean that's probably where you should go if you wanted to get like a tuxedo. Just remember that your bow tie has to match your lapel.
Get one that is self-tie.
That's self-tying. But I mean, again, I'm going back to the point. I don't think people are gonna notice if it's slightly off or whatever. The satin one I'm using, Spencer. No, mine's from I think the Tie Bar. I bought it from the Tie Bar or something like that. And then yeah, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. I'm pretty sure it's not satin because it's polyester, but it looks like satin, and that's what matters. Yeah, that's what matters. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's like I'd love to be more of a stickler about black tie stuff, but it's like, you know what? I don't give a shit.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the whole.
I don't wear it enough
spend
to
money
spend
on something. Where you're not gonna wear it very often.
Yeah. Any other places that you can recommend? Because after that, I do have a couple like just kind of finishing.
No, go ahead. Oh, we didn't talk about shirts.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna bring that up.
Yeah,
so
we'll talk about that.
A couple ways you can wear shirts. I mean, tuxedo shirts are gonna the things that are gonna connect them. They're all usually gonna have like in place of buttons, you would use tuxedo studs, which are just little metal stud things that you fasten your shirt with. They are all going to be French cuff. However, where it differs is going to be the front of the shirt can either be like a bib front with like a bouquet, or just kind of like a contrasting weave. It could be like a pleated front, and then you can either have a turn down collar or a wing collar. And personally, I don't like wing collars unless you're doing the full tuxedo, and I don't like wing collars unless they have a detachable collar, because I think the attached wing collars are too low and it just looks bad.
Yeah, I agree with everything he said there. The PK front that you mentioned, it's also called a Marcella front, and I like that the most. I mean, I think that's because it's pleats. I think I have to iron. I mean, when I wear mine, if mine's wrinkled, I don't care. Mine's who cares? I'm not a good ironer. Yeah. I'm not a good Iron Man either. But I mean, Marcella fronts are just cooler. I mean, they're meant to be more stiff than a pleated front. But who cares?
Yeah,
it's cool. My tuxedo shirt, it's from like the 50s or 60s. It's soft. So the collar is not stiff at all. It's got a little bit of a short point collar, and it's got a pleated front, and it completely opens. Older tuxedo shirts will be pullover style.
A lot of older ones are gonna be bib fronts where the front is like starched, made of the same material as the collar, and it's gonna feel like cardboard or paper. I think that it's kind of cool, but I wouldn't necessarily wear it because it seems uncomfortable. But I think it looks cool.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one option. I mean, again, you can find those at vintage stores.
Darcy Clothing or whatever sells.
Darcy vintage. Clothing, I think, has pretty good one, or at least vintage styled ones.
Yeah.
And also, I think Suit Supply again also has them. The J Crew usually has some collaboration with Thomas Mason, at least from what I remember, where they make a tuxedo shirt in the Ludlow fit.
I'm not sure we're doing Thomas Mason tux shirts right now, but we have a regular tux shirt that's pretty nice.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
And then, make sure your studs, you can find those on eBay. I mean, those don't have to be anything really interesting. Like, you could go for 24 karat gold or sterling silver. I don't know how old mine are, and they're usually cheaper because people buy jewelry sets and then sell the pieces. But just make sure it matches your metals. Like, I mean, they're set, so you would wear like if they're all silver, you would wear all silver.
If they're all gold,
gold,
yeah, exactly.
you'd wear gold, and then match them with your cufflinks. And again, this is we didn't say this earlier, but dinner shirts, evening shirts will have for cufflinks. They won't be normal button cuffs, and so yeah, match that with your studs.
Yep. If you're feeling any other last thoughts on shirts, or did we cover it?
I think that covers it.
If you're feeling particularly dandy and want to wear a hat, do not wear a top hat. Instead, I'm feeling very Gentleman's Gazette right now. Instead, what you should wear is either just a black Homburg or even a boater with a black band.
But you know what our recommendation is? Don't wear a hat.
Exactly. Because then you're getting kind of costumey. If you wear a hat every day, go for it. But yeah, just stick with those. Or you could be like... super cool, like in Singing in the Rain, and just wear a white fedora and just be like, fuck it. Like, I think that's kind of cool.
But again, the fine line between fuck it and ugh is a very fine line. And I usually err on... I don't even wear hats as much anymore. Even Spencer still borrows my fedoras every once in a while. I don't even wear chakras. Again, go to sadjokesexplained.com.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's one of our plugs for sad that we never really capitalized on, which are the whole name of this really hinges on. But yeah, I was always intrigued by the boater idea, but I've never done it. I'm not gonna wear it. I was gonna be like, maybe I'll try it on before I walk out the door. It's probably not gonna work.
Nope.
But yeah. That's a good one.
And then last thing, what do you think about guys like Mr. Ralph himself who say completely say like fuck it, and then do shit like wear dinner jackets with like beat up jeans and cowboy boots?
I feel like I could do it, but I would do it not like Ralph Lauren, because I'm not Ralph Lauren.
Yeah.
Like for me, I would probably wear like the top half and then wear it with like beat up or like selvage denim, and then wear it with like my evening slippers, like just have the jeans like a statement piece or kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't have the balls to wear them with like cowboy boots and
where would you wear it? Because I was thinking about this earlier today, but I was like, that would be cool to do, but I would only feel comfortable doing that like in an event I was hosting.
Yeah, like if it's my birthday, I'd do it.
We're
celebrating something, but yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's if I had to, I'd do it that way. But even then, I would probably just wear a tuxedo.
Because you never get to wear a tuxedo. So
exactly. Yeah. See, I'm sure Ralph gets to do that all the time. So I'm sure the reasoning behind it is because he's like, I wear this all the time. Fuck it, I'm gonna wear my fucking jeans with this thing. But yeah, I think that's our basic. All of it we gotta say about tuxedos and evening wear.
Yeah,
we didn't really get into morning dress because I don't like morning dress.
Yeah, and it's like again that's I think probably worn even less than white tie. That's gonna be my guess.
And we don't wear white tie. We only have a Say or Dominion, or Thunder, as the podcast I listen to called Trivial Warfare. That's what they call it when you have like power or a lot of knowledge. You'd say you have thunder, or you lack the thunder. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
We'll have more topics, like, where we get our inspiration from. Well, that's the one that came up during the recording of this. What's another one that we could talk about? Maybe a couple of brands that we like, but that also kind of goes with inspiration.
Yeah, we'll have more kind of like less structured. Well, this is how like all of our episodes besides the interview ones have been. But yeah, we're gonna try to. I feel bad saying this because we say this every time we record. We're gonna try to.
We're gonna have more episodes.
We're gonna do more episodes. There will be more episodes in the future. I cannot say at what frequently they will be released, but there. Well,
we're really gonna try hard. Yeah.
That's our New Year's resolution for 2019.
Yeah, there we go. Because again, a little peek behind the scenes here. Like I write a blog post every week. Usually, if you guys read them, if hopefully people actually read them, because there's like close to over 2,500 words per article in there. It is personal. It's kind of rambling at times, but it still takes a lot to do that. And then of course I'm a photographer. I've got a lot of and a full-time job, so it's kind of hard sometimes to find time to do the episodes. But I definitely do want to do it. If we get a lot more support from you guys, I'm sure that we'd be more inspired to do it. So please leave a review on the Apple Podcast app.
Yeah, otherwise it's your fault that these never come out. It's your fault personally.
But no, yeah, leave us a review. Hopefully other people will discover the podcast, and if you guys have any ideas yourselves, we're mainly active on Instagram.
Yeah, so just message us there. I mean, we have an email, but
so you can follow this podcast at Style and Direction, all spelled out, on Instagram, also styleanddirection@gmail.com. You can leave me an Instagram message at Ethan M. Wong.
I'm Spencer DSO.
And yeah, just let us know. Give us some feedback. Maybe, hopefully, you like this one and the most recent one, because it's a little bit different than our typical interview a friend, interview person who works in the thing, and then have a discussion. I think this is, I'm more comfortable doing it this way because we know Spencer and I go live on Instagram every once in a while, and it's very similar to that. And it'd be cool to actually save these things and then have people listen to them.
Oh yeah.
So that, all that kind of stuff.
But yeah, please send us episode ideas. If you have questions that you'd like us to answer.
Yeah,
stuff
and
like
we have ideas too, but we want to make sure that you guys who are listening to this, again, the 5 to 10 people that actually listen to it, and will talk to us, and hopefully we have more of an idea of how we want to keep moving this forward, because I really like making content.
Me too. I want to make sure I like doing these talks. It's fun.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye-bye.